If you've ever wished you could serve justice to a loudmouth bully who thinks the world revolves around him, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in because this one ends with poetic justice ... and tequila. I was 21, just starting my third year at university. A little quieter than most, but not afraid to speak when it mattered. And in our college bar where everyone came to blow off steam after lectures, there was one unspoken rule. Avoid the rugby boys. They weren't just athletes. They were untouchable, loud, cocky, entitled. And every one of them convinced they were God's gift to the world. Think blazers, beer breath, and laughter that always came at someone else's expense. But one of them was a walking stereotype of everything wrong with privilege. His name doesn't matter. Let's just call him Tory Boy. Arrogant, smug, and already talking like he had a seat in Parliament lined up. If there was a conversation he wasn't dominating, he'd find a way to ruin it. And that night, he zeroed in on a girl sitting near the bar. Just a regular student, like any of us. She had barely spoken a word when he started tearing into her. You're stupid, pointless, useless, probably heading for a career as a waitress if you're lucky. His friends roared with laughter. She looked like she wanted to disappear. I felt the rage rise in my throat. My hands were shaking, heart racing. I don't even remember crossing the room, I just remember the words tumbling out. Hey, shut your mouth, you pig. And just like that, the laughter died. His smug little face twisted toward me, nostrils flaring. You know that moment when the entire bar goes quiet. When every eye is on you and the heat of humiliation crawls up your neck. That was me, frozen, humiliated, wishing I could take back my voice. I didn't say anything else, just walked back to my table, cheeks burning. He thought he'd won. He thought his words would echo forever. But what he didn't know is that karma doesn't forget. 2 nights later, the bar was buzzing again, same crowd, same cliques. And there he was, Tory Boy, holding court at his usual table, surrounded by his grunting rugby mates, bragging about some classmate he'd put in her place. I was nursing a cider, trying not to let him ruin another night, when it happened. He stood up, reached into his back pocket, and as he leaned over to slap one of his buddies on the back, a crisp £10 note slipped out and hit the floor. He didn't notice, not a clue. It fluttered under the table like a gift from the universe. And in that moment, something clicked. Not rage, not revenge, just justice. I stood up calmly, walked over to their table, planted my foot right on top of that tenor. They barely glanced up, why would they? Just some ugly girl getting too close to the alphas. And then, with the smoothest motion I've ever made in my life, I turned back toward my table, dragging my foot. And the note, across the floor, I don't even know how they missed it. But I got back to my seat, sat down, and revealed the bill like it was a trophy. Everyone at my table saw it. Eyes wide? Someone whispered, "Is that his?" I nodded, and that's when the real fun began. For context, 10 quid back then, that was gold. Enough for at least 3 solid rounds if you played it smart. So, we did. Our table ordered the first round. And when the drinks came, we raised our glasses loudly, deliberately in the direction of the rugby table. Cheers, Tory Boy. He looked over, confused. Probably thought we were just being weird. He didn't recognize his own money fueling the night. Second round, same thing. Louder this time, to Tory Boy. May his pockets always be this generous. Still no clue, but the third time, that's when it happened. As we laughed and drank on his dime, I saw him narrow his eyes, glare, then suddenly smirk. And he shouted loud enough for the whole bar to hear. Didn't know she was disabled as well. What's with the weird walk? Ha ha ha, his mates roared, again. But this time, it didn't sting. It didn't make my hands shake. Because this time, I had his money in my hand and power in my chest. We toasted again. Cheers to karma. And we kept drinking, round after round, laughing, clinking glasses, making jokes in his name. He had no clue, no idea he was funding the very people he'd mocked. That every pint we downed was a middle finger to his ego. And you know what? That night was one of the best nights of my life. Not because I stole, but because I reclaimed something. My confidence, my voice, my power. He could keep his insults. I'd take his money and use it for joy. He strutted around that night like he was untouchable. But every time he laughed, we laughed harder. Every time he bragged, we toasted louder. And he never knew that the loudmouth misogynist was literally paying for the joy of the people he tried to tear down. Poetic justice doesn't always come in fireworks. Sometimes, it comes in pints. They say karma works in mysterious ways, but sometimes, it works in cash. That tenor wasn't just money, it was a symbol of how the loudest bullies often have the softest underbellies. You just have to know where to step. If this story gave you chills or made you want to buy a drink for every underdog out there, smash that like button. Comment below, what would you have done with his tenor? And don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping Reddit revenge stories just like this one. Until next time, keep your glasses raised and your enemies guessing.